La Palma is also known as La Isla Bonita, and it might just be one of the most underrated islands in the Canaries. But here's the thing, most first-time visitors make the same mistakes over and over again.
And honestly, they end up missing on some of the best spots in the island without even realizing. Even if you've been there before, I can guarantee you won't know most of the things that we will be talking about.
So in this video, we're going to walk you through 8 mistakes you need to avoid when visiting La Palma. And if you follow them, I promise your time on the island will be unforgettable.
Before we start with the 8 mistakes, if you are interested in visiting La Palma, you probably know this, but in 2021, a volcano erupted. This unfortunate event destroyed villages and many other things. But with this, we don't really want to set a sad tone to the video, we just wanted to make you aware of it. At some points in this video will be related to that. Alright, let's get started.
Number 1 is related to the volcano eruption and people not knowing what the best viewpoints are to see the area affected by the lava. In our opinion, there are 2 of them, and once you reach them, you get a mix of emotions because of how shocking it looks. The first one is called Mirador Oficial del Volcán Tahogaite.
That Spanish has improved, definitely. Tick. They are both free, by the way.
This viewpoint is just outside what used to be El Paraíso. And I'm saying used to be because this is one of the villages that was destroyed by the lava. This viewpoint is really good to see the area because you are closer to the volcano, and on the way to the viewpoint, you can see houses that have been damaged by the lava. However, in our opinion, the second viewpoint is much better.
The other one is a small mountain called Montaña La Laguna. If you can only visit one of them for any reason, we highly recommend you come to this one. It's a bit trickier because I believe there's only parking for 1 or 2, maybe even 3 cars, but that's why it's in this video. People still don't know it exists and they completely miss it. Going up the mountain will only take about 5-minute, maximum 10-minute walk, and it's not very challenging. Once you reach the top, you'll be able to see this section of lava that extends the island. Yes, this volcano eruption was so impactful that it made La Palma even bigger.
But also from this viewpoint, you also have a better view of the destruction. Mistake number 2 is for people who are thinking of staying in Santa Cruz or on the east side of the island. Now, don't get me wrong, Santa Cruz is the capital, and yes, it's so amazing. It's very colorful, full of history, and such a good place to grab coffee and just wander around for a day. But the problem is, that's not where the best weather or experiences are.
On the other hand, the west coast around Los Llanos, Tazacorte and Tijarafe gets more sunshines, better sunsets, and it's easier to access the best hikes in the island.
If you are wondering how many days to spend in La Palma, we recommend staying a minimum of 3. 3 days is the perfect time to see the main locations as we did, but of course if you can do more than 3 days, then that's ideal.
During our time in La Palma, we found ourselves visiting the west side more. But to be honest, driving across the island doesn't even take that long. It's only about an hour. But if you want to avoid spending hours planning your trip to La Palma, we've created the perfect 3-day itinerary with all the information you need and more. Look, so there is a no-brainer. If you use the code LASTCHANCE, you will get a 20% off. It will only be available for the next 24 hours. So if you want to get it, what are you waiting for? Check the top link in the description.
Mistake number 3. If you want to explore La Palma properly, do you need to rent a car? The simplest and quickest answer is yes.
But what's actually the mistake?
Well, renting the wrong car. The reason why we are saying this is because although La Palma has paved roads, and the majority of the time you won't have any issues, some roads to main landmarks are really rough, so you're gonna risk damaging your car if you book a really small one like a Fiat 500, or maybe even worse, the car is just not gonna make it to your destination.
I remember when we were driving down to Boris Candelaria, which is one of the most famous spots in the island, and you definitely cannot miss it. Well, the road to get there was like driving in hell. The roughness, inclination, it was crazy. But fortunately, we had no issues because we rented an SUV, which was manual, by the way.
Also, a quick tip about visiting Boris de Candelaria, a lot of people get confused and park in the parking that's at the top to then walk down for about half an hour. There's a second parking at the bottom where the road finishes, and this is the closest. And we almost made the mistake.
I guess an indication is that the top parking is pretty much in front of a viewpoint, so don't use that one, just keep driving down.
Speaking about cars, sometimes it's really difficult to find the best companies or simply just dealing with insurance. We have a platform, well, it's not really ours, but we use a platform called Keek, which gathers all the best deals into one place. This is the one we always use and it's totally trustworthy, but the best part is that it makes the whole process of renting the car very clear and simple. Sometimes in the past we've had issues using other platforms, but never with Keek. So if you want to rent a car for an even better price, use the code QRKarma5 at checkout for a 5% discount.
Mistake number 4 is skipping the guided hike on the volcano Tajo Gaite. The Tajo Gaite volcano is the one that erupted in 2021. Yes, you already saw it from the viewpoints, but how many chances will you get to explore a volcano that erupted not long ago? In La Palma, you have several volcanoes, and don't get me wrong, they each offer something different. But this tour is one of those that you cannot miss.
But wait, just to clarify, this is a volcano that erupted really recently. So for conservation and safety reasons, the only way to get that close is with an official guide. But don't worry, it's not as dangerous as it might sound. The hike up to the volcano is not difficult, but it will be important to take water and snacks so you can keep up your energy throughout the whole activity. On the way up, the guide tells you about the volcanoes and some incredible stories of La Palma. And to be honest, this is probably the best way to learn about the volcano eruption from 4 years ago, which may sound like a long time, but the island is still recovering. We left a link in the description to this guided tour. It costs 38 euros per person, which I think is a very reasonable price, but most importantly, it's an unforgettable experience.
I think it's a perfect time to ask that if you are finding this video helpful, please drop a like. This is a way for you guys to support us and for us to reach more people, but also for other people to find this useful video. So thank you so much, and we hope that you keep enjoying this video.
Mistake number 5 is skipping the north completely.
La Palma is a very diverse island, and the north is where La Palma shows off its wildest side. Once you explore it, you start realizing that the north has more greenery, natural swimming pools, and forests.
It's my favorite part.
Yeah, for example, probably some of the most famous places in this island are in the north. Los Tilos Waterfall, Charco Azul, and Roque de los Muchachos.
I'd even say that you should try and spend more time exploring the north, because once you start, you're probably going to think that there's not enough time.
Literally.
In the 3-day itinerary that we created, we mentioned the best spots to visit on the island, and the north definitely has more, but I'm not saying it's not a competition, okay?
Let's jump onto mistake number 6, which is probably one of the most important: not stargazing the right way. You heard it right. There's a right way to do it. Let's start with a fact. La Palma has one of the clearest skies in the world. They have multiple international telescopes in El Roque de los Muchachos, and the sky is actually protected by law to preserve its exceptional conditions for astronomical observation.
It's a designated starlight reserve, and that just means that light pollution is heavily controlled. So what shouldn't you do? Well, just look up from your hotel balcony and that's it. You have to go up to El Roque de los Muchachos at least once in your trip.
This is also why you need a car, so that you can have way more flexibility.
A good plan of action is driving up 1 hour before sunset so that you can see the spectacular sunset from above the clouds. At this point, it's already going to feel so special and romantic. And if you're like us, you're probably going to start thinking of inspirational sentences like, how am I here? How have I made it this far?
We always do that. There are a few stops where you can park your car, but we do recommend that you don't stargaze where there are other people, because they might start speaking or taking pictures with the flash on. We don't want any of that. It's best to try and find one of those spaces on the side of the road and park there. The ones that are the road and a bit of terrain, well, those ones.
If you want to see the best sky, don't plan to leave before 1 in the morning, because that's roughly the darkest point of the night. If you're into photography, on the other hand, this is your time to shine, literally. But if you've never taken pictures of the sky at night, it's time to learn because it really isn't that simple. We took a few pictures that we are really proud of, and overall this night was probably the most special night we had in a while. Now, mistake number 7 surprises a lot of people, just like it surprised us.
La Palma is still rebuilding parts of the island after the 2021 eruption. But not only that, it's constantly improving the infrastructure and maintaining roads to keep them safe. That means that there are a lot of roadworks and detours, and when we say a lot, we mean it.
If Google Maps, for example, says it's gonna take you 40 minutes, it could easily turn to over an hour if you get stuck behind construction or a temporary closure.
We remember driving on the main road in the north, and we had to stop for, no jokes, 40 minutes.
With this mistake, there's nothing you can do about the roadworks, obviously. The only thing you can do is account for extra time when you're driving anywhere.
And finally, mistake number 8. As we mentioned earlier, La Palma is an island with a lot of volcanoes that you can visit. But have you ever explored a volcanic cave? Well, in La Palma, you can do it. And this is an activity that you cannot miss. It's called Cueva de las Palomas.
And just like the previous tour that we mentioned, the only way to do this is with an official guide. In this tour, they provide you with all the safety equipment and you get to walk down to a volcanic tube that was formed in 1949. Let's just say that most tourists see the volcano from above, but very few know you can actually go underneath it. The guides are also really knowledgeable because they teach you everything that you need to know about the volcanoes, and you come out of the tour feeling like an expert.
With this activity, we won't say it's easy, but it's also not physically challenging. It's crazy because this tour is one that sells out very quickly, so we have left the link in the description, and if you see availability, book it because it's very rare.
Actually, we have a bonus mistake. Not supporting the channel if you found this video helpful. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, and if you enjoyed this video, you're definitely going to like the video appearing on the screen right now.
See how you do under pressure. Oh, yeah, I've been wanting this forever. I've been in the field with whatever.